Aloha and welcome to Wisdom Dialogues with Hope Johnson, coming to you from Hawaiian Paradise Park on the beautiful big island of Hawaii. Yes. Okay, thank you. I'm here with Anne and Kai Molino live. Well, I guess we're all live. In studio, aka my patio. It's a beautiful patio. Oh, I love you. Thank you so much. Oh. So, feelings, any feeling that comes over you, anger, sadness, happiness, whatever, and every feeling that comes, it comes from you. It's projected by you. Now, you're being perfect peace and joy beyond calm too, right? You can just extend love, but for you have accumulated a lot of thoughts of the ego that say love isn't possible here. See? So these things kind of live in the subconscious and they just come out through the particulars of your life. Basically, you're projecting that too. So it's like sin is basically believing that you can attack something outside of yourself, right? It's a total mistake, because if you try to attack something outside of yourself, it might seem like you did it. Like making someone wrong, making someone the source of your sadness or anger or fear, right? Or something in the world. See, you wanted to view things in separation, and that's why they seem to be separate. The feeling kind of makes it real for you. And the feelings are just passing. They're just passing through, and they're just reflecting what we thought we wanted. So in that is an opportunity to extend forgiveness, because it's always, you cannot be in an upset feeling. See, an upset feeling is like a non-extension feeling. It's a projecting feeling. Cannot be in an upset feeling without a delusional thought backing it up. Probably more than one. It really comes down to only one delusional thought. The thought that you have separated. And then that's just extrapolated in all these different forms to make it seem like it's just your reality. As a kid, you're just like all carefree and you don't feel any shame or anything yet. And then at some point in your life, you get the perception that you've done something wrong. You have something to make up for. And this is not something that's readily apparent to most people. It takes going within and looking at what's underlying the surface kind of thoughts. It's almost like it's this deep well of thoughts, and they're being used to project your entire, what you think is a reality. I don't know what you think, what seems to be a reality. I kind of know what you think if you're projecting a body. It's like you have to have fear, you have to be projecting fear. It's a constant thing. It takes a lot of work actually to uphold a body image, to keep it up, to keep it in your view. See, when there's and you know, here's different ways it comes into your view. You get concerned about it. That's, you know, I love that. And there's a concern, body concern. Like, let's say cancer, it occurred to me, you know, this spot that I have, like, it's been going on for years. It occurred to me, what if that's cancer? And, you know, feel really afraid, and then notice where that fear is coming from, what it's projecting from, and even the perception that it seems like that. Something that I learned, right? This is a thing that I learned from, you know, hearing things that I heard and that I thought I heard, you know, has no bit of a reality. And there's nothing I can do as far as whether or not I'm going to go see someone about it. You know, that's not really anything relevant. It's just this concerned feeling. And, you know, that's the kind of thing that props it up. That's basically fear. The whole thing, it's a, I've heard it called a pain body. Pain is fear. That's all it is. And, you know, I can definitely sense that the way that this world and the body and the form is held up. And so then relax with it. And, you know, anyone can do this, but for being attached to what they believe is actually true. See, it's like, because you see what you wanted to see, you're automatically believing it too. So before you were projecting this world of separation, you knew you were one, you knew there wasn't anything else. And you only just denied that. You denied that oneness. And that was out of a fearful thought. Once you denied it, you believed that you did it, that you actually did separate. But that's because your mind, if you deny your own reality, then your mind's going to make illusions and they're going to be believable. So through perceiving illusions again and again and believing again and again, it makes it more believable. It makes it more concrete, I guess you could say. And, you know, if you are committed to what the ego told you, there's going to be no convincing you. There's no reason why you should be here trying to get convinced about this. You know, listening to something like this is kind of like something you arrive at a point where you're a lot more open to ideas that point you and show you your way to the truth. Carmelino said there must be a better way. That is a magical thought. I love that. There must be a better way. So you know, it's like you reach a point of perceiving the world where you go, this can't be worthy of me. This is not, you know, this can't be the reality. There's no way. I wasn't created like that. And, you know, that comes up for some people through meditation, for some people through an experience that may be a real painful experience or something like that. It kind of like shatters your belief system for a moment, but just enough to keep opening you up slowly, slowly, slowly. to what this actually is, because there's a lot of fear around that. There's a lot of buildup of fear around it. So, it's not something to force. It's not something to force. And certainly by sharing my perspective, I don't mean to force anything on you. You're fine if you still want to follow the ego. I don't mean anything bad about that at all. I mean, I've had friends tell me I am the ego. And it's like, okay, I don't want to disturb that relationship. Right. I'm not trying to go in there and like pry you away, because your teacher is within. And if we're coming together, then we're meant to be together because it's maximally beneficial for all of us. Okay, so if we're coming together like this to expand our awareness of what's true, then we're going to be helped in that way. If you come to wisdom dialogues with an attitude of prove to me that this is true, and you're using the ego, you're comparing to things that you've seen and different stuff like that, and things that you've heard, and this takes willingness. Actually, this takes willingness. It's an ongoing moment to moment. It's like, it's not a bad thing if you miss a day or whatever, anything like that. It's just that you develop this devotion toward seeing what's true. And to see what's true, you have to be willing to forsake what you made up. So, Asana, my love. Okay, you said I'm angry with a friend. Okay, so to start out with right there, one thing just to be seen, it's not saying you need to change your language or anything, but just to be seen is the way the thought comes is I'm angry with a friend. Okay, so you're not angry with a friend. That's not a true thought. So that's one thing that could help, actually, because when the thought arises in your perception, I'm angry with a friend, it can be corrected. Yay. Wait a minute. I'm angry with a friend? How is that possible? For one, and this is how it comes across to me. The messages that come is there's no possible way for you to be angry. You can get a perception of anger and identify with it as if it's you getting angry, but you can't get angry. Isn't that a relief? So you're getting a perception like you are angry. That's interesting now. That's much more interesting. Wait a minute, I'm viewing anger, and then I have a choice whether I want to identify with what I'm viewing. Right? Now, this isn't going to work if you don't give the same benefit of the doubt to everyone else that acts like they're angry. That's just it. It's like, like when a friend wants to do an angry thing, it's like you just notice that's not really possible. That's not really them. And they're probably not going to hang on to it. Most of the time they're not. If they do want to hang on to it, then you don't have to hang out with them. Unless you think you deserve anger, then you do have to hang out with them. That's how that goes. You can't even help it. There are so many friendships that are just based, quote unquote, friendships that are just based on anger. And, the people in that relating don't realize that that's not the way they're created to relate, let's say. That's not natural. That's not really natural for them. It's unnatural. But it's the way they think it has to go. Back a long time ago, I was married to a different dude, not Tony. And one thing he said to me stood out. He said, he said something about how love is pain. We always hurt those that we love. And I was like, that doesn't sound very good to me. That's probably why I got a divorce pretty quick. I don't know. I wasn't into that. That, and he boned up with my sister, that'll do it.
Ego.
That's fun. Yeah. Yeah. That should be a really red flag for dating, right? Your date tells you love is pain. You're like, oh, fuck, let me get out of here now. I'm not going to stick around to see the outcome of that one. Okay. So first, you're not angry. We got that. The friend, just eliminate the friend. Just eliminate the fucking friend like this. There's no fucking friend. You are projecting anger, right? That's because you're interested in it. That's because you're pursuing it. The thought of it, the feeling that you're projecting, the angry feeling, seems like it's so real. This friend, how could they fuck it up like that? How could they do that to me? The friend has not been honest with me. Okay, so that's just a reflection of you think that you have been dishonest. And you're probably right. You've been dishonest with yourself, but it's okay. It's not a bad thing. No one's angry with you. God isn't angry with you. See, all this is reflecting. He or she can't possibly do something. Or look at this, or be dishonest with you without you making that up. Okay. So even the dishonesty, and see, here's the thing, here's why it's easy too for me to just let relationships flow, right? It's like I just look at what's the lesson in this. I don't know what it is. I don't make the lesson up myself, but more times than not, the guidance is to just walk away from that kind of relating. Kind of like, hope you don't play that. And I'm not into that. That doesn't mean there's something wrong with it. They go play with someone who's into that. Some people love that shit. They're going to find their match. But it's a playful thing. Like, who cares? Why was I expecting them to be honest with me when I made them that way, that I perceive them? A lot of people take this as you're making it like there's no one else here. Well, there is only one of us, right? So the ones, and the one has unlimited distinct qualities. But the way I perceive through my body senses, these bodies and things, they're 100% made up by me. See? So of course these things are going to come up, or you're going to get angry, you're going to get annoyed, you're going to get this and that and this and that. But all you're doing is pursuing these thought patterns. You're not really capable of being in a state of anger. There's no being there. There's only viewing it. Viewing a state of anger. And this is why it makes it really, really simple for me when I sense anger. It's just like, I love it. It's such a nice, hot feeling, it's like, there's a certain vibration to it. But I love it because I know it's not anything real. I know it doesn't mean whatever I think it means. I know whatever I'm thinking right now, that the thoughts I'm using to project anger onto my body are 100% false. That's why it feels so good. It takes the whole bite out of it. It turns it from a fearful feeling to an inspired feeling. Right? There's not something that I need to do about it. There's not anything that I need to do in the world about it or anything. Although it could be a catalyst for something that some kind of action that seems to arise. I don't mind. I'm just here to act out the fucking part like a puppet. Isn't that fun? But I can tell when I'm pretending. And basically pretending is anything that comes with an upset feeling. And, you know, some things are not readily identifiable as an upset feeling for people because, you know, people think concern is like a good feeling, a good loving feeling. Is it less than gratitude? Is concern less than gratitude? That could be your test. Is there gratitude where there's concern? Right? Can you hold concern and have gratitude? Watch. Right? So at times people can't really take this concept that we're not separate and everything that seems to occur is a gift. Not only a gift, it's the most beneficial thing that can possibly be. Right? There's a sense like that's a mean thing to say. And, you know, it is in a lot of situations. Like we don't notice it, but it is in a lot of situations. You know, someone's not really on that level. They haven't even maybe heard that before. Maybe they just come up to you and go, gosh, I'm so angry about this and this and this and this and this. And then you're like, oh, well, aren't you, don't you know that the world isn't real and that thing didn't really happen? And so there's no basis for anger. Like anger has no justifiable cause at all. Like you're just projecting it onto yourself. Yeah, that sounds really reasonable to me. I love that. I love to hear that. But for someone who thinks they are actually angry, right? And I know Asana doesn't. She's a regular on Wisdom Dialogues. Anyways, if you come to Wisdom Dialogues, you're in for it. That's just how it goes. You get the whole thing. You get nothing but the truth around here. So, yeah. So any of that stuff is nonsense, of course. And a person who really feels committed to that idea is not going to be able to take it. In fact, they may turn on you and be pissed at you or something like that. Don't use that to make yourself afraid to speak up. Just be in a listening way. You know, it's like the ego always wants to take over everything, even your desire to help and your desire to be of service and your desire to speak the truth, right? The ego is constantly wants to take over. Remember, you don't need to convince anyone else for it to be true for you. The ego wants you to believe that, right? That's how the ego makes beliefs true. Right? We repeat these things over and over and over and over again and makes these basically ego beliefs true. Ego beliefs I'm going to hold are beliefs that are limiting. They're limiting, they're guilty, they're insane, right? Yeah.
And each one is another chance to see things differently.
And each one is another chance to see things differently. That's right. Yep. Yep. Each one is a choice. That's right. So, you know, let yourself learn. That for me, that's how it goes. Like, especially if I don't seem to know what to say right off the hop, someone's talking to me and I get a sense of like nervousness or not knowing what to say. It's just a matter of, I don't need to say anything. I don't need to do anything. I'm not going to be needed in this at all. So then there's just a sense of relaxation, and then we can relate. You know, a lot of the times people will tell me something and I'll smile and nod and hug, and that's it. Right? It's common for people when you when they get into a pattern where we think we know everything, right? So I just let myself be in a learning situation. What's here for me to learn, right? That's why I don't need to do anything to correct the things that seem to be coming out of another person's mouth. That's not really necessary for me. And then, you know, letting go is like a ride. It's so nice. Whatever comes out, I don't know what it's going to be. It's a surprise to me. Right?
Mm.
Hey, aloha, Brooke. How fun. Thanks for joining. Aloha, Natalie. Yay. So and then, okay, so Asana said, I'm angry with a friend, which we covered. I feel has not been honest with me, which we covered, and can't seem to shake it off. Okay, so shake it off. That feels like, get off of me, right? Kind of feels like, I don't want this, right? I don't want it interfering with my day. So what it's meant for is seeing through. Seeing through. So I take that angry feeling and just let it be absorbed in your body's energy field. Feel into that, your body's energy field. Notice the angry feeling. It's being projected from your mind. Remind yourself over and over, because your thoughts will project as if the anger is caused by the friend, and you're believing in that over and over again intensifies the feeling. So it's in the midst of that. Okay, there's a thought, I can't seem to shake it off, but look deeper than that to the thoughts that are propping it up. You're going to see something if you look. There are thoughts that are propping it up. Deny meaning to those. Any thought that suggests that she came from outside of yourself with her dishonesty. Dishonesty is fear. You could say she's come to you for forgiveness in your name. And that basically just takes your willingness to see that you're making her dishonest. You taught her how to be dishonest by being dishonest. We've all been dishonest. That's why we get perceptions of dishonest people. And we've accumulated dishonest thoughts that we use to prop up this world as if we have separate bodies. So it's like, can you be in forgiveness for that? Can you be forgiving? That doesn't mean you need to hang out with the person once again. And you don't have a choice in it, because if you are mean to yourself to a certain degree, you're going to be made to hang out with people who seem to do mean things to you. It's fun. It's fun to watch. Aloha, Cynthia. Thank you for joining. It's playful. Oh shit, you ripped me off.
Hmm.
That was fucking awesome. What a rush. You burnt my house down. Right? And I'm not saying it's easy. I mean, I'm sitting there laughing about it right now, but I'm not saying it's easy in the moment. Okay. It's simple. It's really simple. You don't have to be like a rocket scientist to figure this stuff out. But you know, it's like, it's kind of like you just relax in the moment and give up what you're making. Like, how could you do that? Let's say someone, walked up and hit you and they weren't even sorry. They're not even sorry that they hit you. I know that's not easy. You know, I've been metaphorically like that in a situation like that, not really a physical thing, but I know from the ones I've gone through where someone says something to you and it feels like a total attack. Or someone does something and it's like a total attack, you know. And that's the seeming that they've said or done something to you, right? You can't feel that way without believing that they have done something to you. And you can't make it as if they have done something to you unless you wanted them to seem like they could do something to you because you wanted to play the victim. Isn't that cute? Asana said, thanks. I know it is always me. Yeah. Yes. And, you know, in the moment when you feel triggered, like you feel angry, you're not knowing that it's you. That's why you can maintain that feeling. You be released from that feeling immediately once you actually know that it's you. See, it's one thing, and it's really big thing too. Saying, I know that it's me. That's an awesome thing, especially in the moment of the thought is occurring to you, I'm angry. Wait a minute, I know that it's me, right? It's awesome. It's not the same as knowing that it's you, but it's getting there. It's really good, right? It's like, it's a willingness, it's a step, it's a willingness. And, you know, but when you really see that it's you, you can't, there's no thought bugging you. There's just gratitude, right? And, you know, if you make her wrong, him or her wrong for being dishonest, you're going to be defensive about that. Okay. And you're going to be afraid of being that and therefore pursue that kind of experience. So let everyone off the hook, of course. You taught the dishonesty. You undid the dishonesty by refusing to make it real. So the forgiveness is needed for myself and for hurting myself with those thoughts. Well, the way you worded that, it makes me think you're not 100% sure of what forgiveness is. So, you know, the forgiveness is basically to establish that what you thought happened actually didn't happen. That's what it is. So forgiveness for hurting myself, you can't even really hurt yourself. So you don't need forgiveness for that. It's forgiveness. It's forgiveness as in what I thought was making me get this impression that I'm hurting myself and believe in it isn't even true. It's not really true. See, if you forgive yourself for hurting yourself, all you've done is made yourself guilty again. You can't hurt yourself. So you don't need forgiveness for that. You don't need forgiveness. You need to forgive. And not forgive yourself. You haven't done anything. Forgive the idea that you did something. Forgive the thought that you could hurt yourself with thoughts. Right? Forgiveness is back to zero. Nothing that I've just made. This whole foundation for this anger that I just formed with all these thoughts, none of it means anything. So the whole foundation is gone. Where's the anger? Feel angry without believing in the thoughts. And anything like that will, and it's your goal for it to erupt in laughter, boisterous laughter, right? That's what it's all really leading to. So the way that looks, you're getting a sense like you feel angry, and that is hilarious to you. Yeah, to the ego, it's really deep and dark. Oh no, I'm angry. I'm angry. But when you see that the anger is just occurring to you, it's just, oh my God, that's funny. Yay. That's right. None of it is real. It seems to take a lot of words to get to that, but that's like really like the underlying message. None of it is real. Only love is real. And we're all learning how to see that. We learn through willingness to learn. Seeing that we're being shown something here. Oh, I love you guys. So in perceiving lack of love, let's say, and being aware that we're projecting it, right? Like, let's say I'm in a conversation and someone wants to make me wrong in the conversation, which is common in family situations. People feel guilty and it's like project. And just noticing that, man, I could feel the love in that. It's kind of like sink into that and go, oh yeah, I could feel the love in that. And notice how it just kind of softens the situation. It kind of went in degrees. At one point, I stopped defending myself. I went through a period where the guidance was to zip it and feel. Don't say anything. Because when I would say something in these certain situations, especially around my family, it would be something defensive. So it's like, okay, just the guidance was quiet and feel. So then I'm just watching whenever I get triggered to defend myself and letting it play out in my body's energy field, right? This energy field. let's say call it the body sense, right? So watch it play out in there and notice how it's an energy that's looking for life. So it's looking for a multiplication. It wants to be multiplied. And that happens through your interest in it. If you're interested in the thought that's projecting it. So that life, it's like I would get almost like a hit of some kind of life energy just by allowing that energy to play out in my body's energy field and not project it outward. It's kind of like containing this feeling without projecting it outward, without making it about anyone, because it's like, okay, I want to experience this. Okay, it's one thing to know that we're not separate, to know that no one's harming me and I'm making all of this up. It's another thing to have that kind of experience. And that is what that experience is. It could also be like this. You find your mind rehashing some conversation you had 6 months ago or 60 years ago, right? And you find yourself in that. That is also the same kind of thing. It's just an opportunity. Watch, look at how it feels. Turn your attention, be willing to turn your attention from the thought about that time when you were having that conversation with that person to the sense that you're making in the body field here, right? So that's what it means to come present. The sense that you're making by pursuing that thought in the body field. That's a total pivot from the mind. And that's basically opening you up for healing. That is forgiveness, because you're taking the meaning that you've given to these thoughts that are arising in the mind. You're going, wait a minute, it's actually back here. This is where it's being projected from. It's just a feeling that I'm projecting. And the feeling that I'm projecting, actually the feeling that I'm projecting right now is making the circumstances that I'm perceiving, even if they're past circumstances. The feeling I'm projecting onto myself right now is making circumstances. Isn't that wild? Thank you, Hope, for bringing me back out of my mind. Yay! Thank you too. That's what we're meant to do for each other. That's what we are meant to do. You know? I love that. Most of my friends are like that. It's interesting. Most of my friends and people that I hang out with regularly, they have a clue what this is. They at least have a clue what this is. And, they can forgive easily. And I appreciate that. That's really fun. Forgive before. I like that one. Forgiveness before. There's nothing even to forgive. Because the ego's forgiveness is something different. It's like you have something and it's real. It really happened. And then you forgive it. True forgiveness is really just seeing that it's already forgiven because nothing happened. Oh, that pain, I know, of being, but it's funny because when it's coming up like that, it's an opportunity for it to kind of like be exhausted, right? It's kind of like it's exhausting itself. It's expressing and exhausting itself. And the thing is, it's not getting any more energy from you if you're willing to see that that's all that's happening. It's just this energy exhausting itself. It has nothing to do with anyone. It doesn't have anything to do with you. And as long as you're not pursuing it, you're not projecting it. So you're not feeding it, in other words. And you just get better and better at it over time. It's kind of like you wear away at it over time. And it becomes more second nature for you. So I know I've shared with you guys before, for the past couple weeks about my adventures in real estate training, and that is going really fun. I think I'm 3 weeks in or something. I got like 92% done. So I will be a real estate agent very soon. I know I have to go to Kona to take a test. I get to go to Kona to take a test. See that? I just noticed stuff like that. It's not like, aha, I gotcha, like that. That's just not even nice. It's like, it's just like, just notice. It's simple. And it's not like someone's keeping score, like how many times you say it right or wrong. Right?
Find yourself keeping score. Well, who's that?
Yeah. If you find yourself. Yep. That's right. And it's just a matter of seeing, oh, it's like a trick. It's like a trick. It shows up and it's like, you see that? See how the languaging is? This is learned stuff. I got to, even if I don't say it afterwards, like I did right now, I may not necessarily like seemingly correct it on the surface. Just seeing it is plenty. Just noticing it. That's like I said, you don't have to change your language. The fact that it comes up is maximally beneficial. Remember. So it's not like, oops, I want to take that back. Watch that about yourself too. Watch when you're like, oh, oops, sorry. Just jumpiness, because that's not you. That's not actually you, but you're identifying with it over and over and over again. You don't have to identify with it. It's just silly. It's just funny. That's what kind of like, what I mean to share. And I know it doesn't quite sink in for everyone the way I mean it for a while when I say I'm a fucking idiot. The thing is, it's like this, as what I made with the ego, it's an idiot. That's just how it is. Okay. And it's okay with me. Right? This image that is propped up, and people in my world, the people that I peopled with, who I taught to believe in images, believe that it's me. That thing that you think is me, the projection, the body image, it's coming from your mind. So that thing, that is going to be a fucking idiot. It's okay. See, it stops acting so erratic as there's willingness to see. And see, and one thing that, the only thing really that makes it act erratic is fear. Like, oh, I'm so afraid they're gonna think something about me. That's what I noticed. I noticed myself one time when my boys were young. I was out in front of Island Naturals, Pahoa, and my son was doing something. I forgot what it was, but there was a man there, and he's like, oh, you're going to do it like that. And then I immediately, like, kind of like in a jerked way, I noticed myself moving kind of like a jerky way to try to do it different. And then I realized I was just trying to please that man. Now, people seem to do this all the time. And a lot of the times not even be aware of it. It's just like, it comes so clear for me. I'm like, whoa, it was almost like I got like an acid trip right there. Right. It's almost like I just started tripping out on acid. It was like so weird walking into that store, because it was like, whoa, I just saw something that was like, woo. And it's just like, it just occurred to me, wow, how programmed and trained it is to be pleasing people in the experience. And like, to my mind, I didn't feel like I thought that way. There's just like this program thing that came out. I was like, what the heck was that? I was like, whoa. Right. And so from that, after having that kind of experience, I could see more and more about how there's this underlying program code to try to please people. And, ever since I've been a little kid, I've been like sensing this energy of people wanting me to please them. And I'm just kind of like, fuck you. Ever since I'm like a little kid, I want to show you something that doesn't please you. How about that? Not to my parents, though, because I didn't want to get my ass kicked. Those fuckers, I behaved. Okay. But like out around other kids and stuff like that, I would just be like the opposite of what they're like expecting me to be and to fit into these little cliques. I'd notice little cliques even in little kids. I'm like, no, I don't like that kind of stuff. I'm not into that kind of stuff. And so it just kind of like this sense of being steered toward a particular way of being that is the way we agreed to be with the ego. Like these people are kind of like, they become their little our little props. Like, okay, here's what I want you to be for me, and here's what I want you to be for me. And then if you step out of those kind of parameters that I gave you, then you're a piece of shit. Basically, you're like cast out. Even with kids, my daughter has great stories. She's 31 now, but when she was a little kid, she would have these cliques. She'd be in these cliques where each week a different girl was cast out. I was the scapegoat of the group. A different girl was cast out of the group and everyone hated them. And then when it got to be my daughter's turn for her to have her being cast out of the group, she was like, this sucks. I don't want to do this to anyone. Right? But if you don't see it like that, you keep on playing it over and over and over again. That's what most of the girls are doing. They just keep on playing it over and over again. And even as an adult, and there's plenty that's kind of like a fun thing for, and when I have new friendships and stuff like that, it's kind of like, oh, let's see how this is going to go. Cause a lot of the times people want to use me in the same kind of way, like to be that kind of thing. And I'm just on a totally different wave. It's like, I'm not feeling shameful about anything I seem to do. I'm not obligated to call, right? I mean, gosh, I don't even have to be on top of my messages. I know I just call right at the right time. It's always the perfect time. I'm not sorry, right? Who likes a friend like that? Not an ego. It's kind of like it's kind of like to hang out with me. It's like you gotta really be released from ego stuff. At least be willing to be released from ego stuff, especially where I'm concerned. Because if you hold something against me too, I could feel it. I can sense this holding. It'll just be, I'll be uninterested. I can't even help it. I'm not mad, just uninterested. I told a woman before, I'm like, yeah, I see that you're really committed to making people, wrong. Basically, she just told me that, she explained it to me. I see you're really committed to making people wrong. And she got super pissed off at me. I said, I wasn't like trying to be mean or anything, but I'm sure I was, because she got super pissed off at me. But anyways, I was going, How there's really not anything for us to talk about if you're committed to people being guilty and committed to using your mind to make people feel guilty, right? So there is this whole, feeling really upset about it, and then I just let her know, hey, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying there's some wrong with that. There's not really anything for us to discuss because guilt and innocent, they can't meet. When your mind is pointed toward innocence, when your mind is devoted to innocence and will only accept innocence in terms of thinking, you can't meet with the mind that requires guilt, that's devoted to a guilty purpose. Basically, a devotion to making people guilty, which is so common. Fault, blame, it's even in the legal system.
Mhm.
All right. The medical system too, yeah. What have you done wrong? What have you done wrong to make this happen? Yeah, it just makes me think of something that I'm not gonna say because then I won't be able to post this video.
I know. Say it.
Won't be able to post it as video.
Yeah.
Yeah. It just, so some of it is just so obvious that that's such an ego trip, and it'll be projected out on the world stage, like through the media and stuff like that. Some of it is just like, so it seems like it's widespread and really obvious, and saying, okay, now everyone get on board for this war, right? So then people start getting on board for a war, and it's like, man, the power of the mind is so misunderstood. It's like, you don't need, if you're broadcasting something and you want to have a good, happy, fun time, you're not going to be broadcasting war. It's going to make the opposite for people. For those who believe it, those who believe in it, it's making the opposite of it. I mean, when it comes to something like war, the way to help is to imagine, visualize peace. People hugging. That's such a good, it's such an uplifting. Imagine a Russian and a Ukrainian hugging. Imagine, what's his name? Putin and Biden. Imagine them hugging, right? Feel that. I could feel it when I just talk about it right now. That's the cure. That's actually the cure. To get the mind to go toward war, disease, political, what do you call that stuff? Political, political, there's a bunch of irate people. I was going to say irateness. It seems to be, making some irate people. It's obviously a trick, and it's not like someone is doing it to us. This is an agreement, you guys. Them, the ones who are carrying out the media and all that kind of shit, that's an agreement. And it's like, from moment to moment is an opportunity to either agree with it some more or undo it, rescind the agreement. When you can feel the upliftment, you're helping and you're being helped. And you can feel that upliftment, you know. Is let yourself to be uplifted. It's not uplifting. It may be uplifting from an ego's perspective, though, and that can be kind of tricky. You know, maybe you think you have always hated Russians. They're the worst people, whatever your story is. Maybe you feel like really sincerely, like if a big ass hole was just blown over there and all of those fuckers died, you'd feel much better. Right? That's how you win a war. Right? That's how you win. It's us or them. We're either gonna blow a hole or they're gonna blow a hole.
Hating for hating itself. I haven't understood hate one by people hate.
How can
But
people hate?
I understand.
Yeah.
it. So silly.
Right.
Ew.
And to get other people behind the idea that war is necessary. See, that's how the ego works. These belief that it's necessary. It's a necessary evil. You probably heard that. But that's an agreement that we made. And you can see, look, it's a subjective journey for each of us through delusion. Like, this world isn't really here. We don't even all have the same government, let's say. We all have our own version of it. Each has an individual version of the whole world. I have my own version of Kai Molino, for instance. Everyone has their version. He has his own version of himself. Okay. So we're going to start to perceive in our versions of our worlds that people are opening up to what the truth is, slowly, 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 because it is a dream of awakening. So first, it seems like we may be the only one or just a few. For me, I was the only one for a really long time. And then some different ones seem to be popping up in my experience that also have a similar perspective, point of view on the world. And that's a relief. But it was some years before that occurred. Yes, I like that, Milo. Imagine all the people living in peace. Yeah, that's it. It's a feeling. So as long as, or let's say it's expressed as a feeling. So as long as there's a body sense, it's for that. It's for feeling. And the only value of recognizing that the world isn't a reality is that you can be willing to feel the feeling. Because when it's so real to you, there's this need to run away from it, and that accumulates pain. It shows up in the body sense. I was looking on Facebook the other day, and Someone said, what's it like? What's it like to be in your 40s? Because someone's about ready to be in their 40s, right? And so what's it like to be in your 40s? And I was reading through the comments, like, what did people say about the 40s? And you know what came up the most? Pain. Pain in the 40s. And I just kind of like reflected that on for a moment, and I was like, interesting, because it seems like all of this burden that we've accumulated over the decades, basically there's not a body to live through decades like that. The body's being projected right now. It's just that the mind is accumulating these ideas and holding them dear. So at some point, it seems to be around the 40s, things like tendons and stuff seem to go tighten up. They seem to like do a little and things start to change shape. That's when they start to change shape. As far as like bones and different, like on myself, I noticed, I looked down on my feet one day, I'm like, what the fuck is happening with my feet? What are those doing? Like things just get taken on some like old lady shape or something, right? I was like, what the heck's going on here? Anyways, that's all worked out. It's not like that. Blocking, I block like a mofo, right? I block everything. One of the things that I notice is the feet. They're just like, oh, that's how I like to see them. That's how they look healthy and happy and free. But yeah, there's this constriction that occurs. It starts in the 40s, and people start feeling pain in the 40s. And you know what happens when you go to the doctor about that? It's a natural effect of aging. That's a natural, this is what happens. It's just going to get worse. You might as well start taking some drugs right now. Here, you want some pain meds? Right. But actually, if you seem to be going through something like that, compression therapy, amazing, just amazing. And here's the thing, there's nothing here in the world. That's why we can make any kind of remedy. We can make up any kind of remedy. And it's not like it's ooh, whoa. Okay, something just shifted. Ah. One moment. Okay. It's not like it's discouraged to have remedies. These are remedies. They just also arise as a matter of course. Okay. So this remedy, using a block to compress on the hardness that's been accumulated, right, seems to eliminate the hardness. But you can't even get the perception of yourself allowing that without a mind that's willing to be released of what's holding it in place. Those adhesions that show up in the body sense are just a reflection of tightness, tension in the mind. Even if you get the block and sign up for block therapy, if you wanted to, it's blocktherapy.com. Even if you get that stuff and sign up for block therapy, you can't possibly perceive yourself getting into it unless you're mentally willing to be released from what's tightening everything up, what's holding everything tight. When I first saw it, I was like, oh my goodness, this is going to be a daily thing for me. And it has been. It's been like a year and a half. I was like, just like amazed at not only how well it like worked out a lot of that aging, a lot of that seeming aging effect. It's not a time thing. That's the thing. It's not a time thing. It's an accumulation thing. So even in perceiving it that way, it changes things. even your willingness to perceive it. Also, while I'm having the experience of this block therapy with the block going deep into the pain and bringing it up to the surface, just thinking over and over again, thank you, I love you. You could say it's mantra. It's the same thing. Thank you, I love you. It brings my mind back to what's occurring right now. And I use that or something like that all the time, just to bring my mind back to what is occurring right now. My goal is to be in a state of constant release, right? So I notice really fast if there's anxiety or something like that, I know that's not worthy of me though. So I come back to that state of constant release. And it's kind of like, almost like orgasmic, only it's much more sustainable. And, release doesn't require a body. Ultimately, it's release from the body, total release. And I'm not talking about death.
The third obstacle of peace, of course, miracles today, which is the attraction of death.
The attraction of death.
Yep.
Okay.
The setting of the incorruptible
Yeah.
body. Juicy.
Yeah. That's a part in
We seem to die.
a part in A Course in Miracles that Kai Molino's
Deep
reading.
into a-
Yeah. What's the title of the chapter again?
Obstacles of peace.
The Obstacles of
Well,
Peace.
that's the section. The chapter 19.
Chapter 19.
The attainment of peace.
The attainment of peace. Okay.
Yeah, and then section 4 is the obstacles of peace.
Okay. And then there's another section,
And
the
there are 4
obstacles of peace.
subsections, A, B, C, and D. And the last one is the fear of God. Works from the desire to get rid of peace is the first.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very deep read, chapter 19.
Yeah. So all of that stuff, it's like A Course in Miracles is a huge book, and that's definitely speaks to me. It just feels like pure truth. I just really love it. And then there's since it's a book, it's coming in the form of a book, right? And it's got all these words. It's like, it seems like it really needs to be studied. And as much as it is studied, that's how much it actually needs to be studied. But there's really not much to it. It's basically, what is it, Kai Molino?
God is. It's just repetition. The course is so much repetition.
Right. Yes, it's I know what I was meaning to share. Nothing real can be threatened and nothing unreal exists. Therein lies the peace of God. So that's really the whole thing. And all the words, it's a lot of the times, they're being used for mental entertainment, which is this kind of attainment of knowledge, attainment of learning. It's like to learn A Course in Miracles, in A Course in Miracles, it says you have to learn this course. But to learn A Course in Miracles isn't to get proficient at A Course in Miracles, at knowing what all the words say and everything that goes on. And it's actually to live it. That's how you learn it. Remember, you learn, your learning takes place in the field, right? So it's like you hold it very lightly, hold that very lightly. And then also you have nothing to defend it against. You don't have to defend A Course in Miracles. Let's say you're a Course in Miracles student, or you're a different kind of student, whatever. Your appreciation for it, I have a great appreciation for A Course in Miracles, but if someone goes, hey, A Course in Miracles is a It is a piece of shit. Are you kidding me? That's the most narcissistic book I ever seen. Every person that comes out of A Course in Miracles is a narcissistic fuckwad. You know, it's just like, thanks for letting me know. You know, it's okay. I don't have anything to defend about it. Right? It's fine. It's actually not anything. Right? It's actually not anything. That it's all. These are all illusions, including the book. And they're all for play. The book could be called a learning device. I think that's probably a learning teaching device. So it's probably what the book itself would call itself. Yeah. So when you don't have any defensiveness about the teaching, whatever teachings you're on, sometimes people feel defensive about me because people go, oh, Hope Johnson, she's a real whatever. And a person will go, wow, they said that to me. One of my friends was telling me it was 2 people that were saying, I know who Hope Johnson is. She's this and that and this and that. And my friend goes, oh my goodness, Hope, it was such a rush. The just feeling what I felt when I heard people talking like that about you. And it's like, that's exactly what it's for. And you know, that's the best testimony. If you consider yourself a student or a follower or anything like that of Hope Johnson, that's the best testimony, when you can not be in defensiveness, right? When you're released from the defensiveness, you'll just feel that and not not have a bone to pick about it, or trying to prove that the person you like is good or something like that. It's like, oh, that's how it's landing. Okay. Never mind. We won't talk about her again. The best testimony is just peace, just being at peace with it. Look at it as people are coming around, sometimes trying to push your buttons in a playful way. It's always in a playful way, though. And you, with that, whatever your reactions seem to be, let that also be playful. It lets me get out of things really fast, or I'll feel this, I still go through that sometimes. I'll be like, so angry about this, you know, and then I'll just feel that, and then I'll just be back to love so fast. It'll be so fast. It's just like a couple minutes or a couple seconds or something like that. And then, you know, I'll notice it reverb and get almost like re-healed over and over again. You know, it's like reverb again, and it's like re-healed. Now that is one way of looking at it that's very empowering too, is that, you know, a lot of people don't look at it like that. Like they'll feel like, oh, I got released from it, and then it'll do the reverb and they'll be like, oh shit, there it is again, instead of like, oh, here it comes for some more healing. And it just like that's how it is. It reverbs like that. So it's not like it's just sticking around and I can't get out of it. I don't look at it like that. It's perfect for me. It's reverbing. It gets met with forgiveness once again. Once again, what is forgiveness? What I thought happened didn't happen. Since it is a world that's just projected in the imagination, anything could be the case. So I let my mind be open to all the possibilities. I don't give up. Right? There's this giving up where it's like giving up to the ego, like succumb. Succumb is a very good word for this. Okay, I guess this is just the way it is. That's succumbing. So anything could occur. So back to, I've been on this real estate adventure.
Ah,
And it's fun because I don't know what I'm gonna be in this. I don't have any idea, really. There's, as I'm going through the course, there's all these different things that I can work in. I just know one thing, I'm going to be using it all for the same thing, right? And there's this kind of like excited sense. And there's also, this is also one of my triggers for feeling angry. Urgh. Why do I have to support myself? Right? Yeah, you always hear grandma's voice in your mind going, it's just as easy to fall in love with someone who has money than as someone without any money.
grandma.
Right. And then it's like, right. But the thing is, it doesn't go anywhere because I noticed that. Right. Even if I speak something out about it, it's like, I don't believe it. So then all that energy gets turned into like this excitement. It's like, it feels really exciting. Okay, 92% done. I'm probably going to get done with it this week. I mean, gosh, it was just, what was it, Friday that I was in the 70s? Yeah, it'll probably be this week. Yeah. Yeah. So it seems like it's pretty easy. But maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm just a smart fucker. I don't know.
You
Yeah.
need to go on a Kona adventure.
And then that's right. I'm gonna seem to go on a Kona adventure to go take the test. And then I got a friend I can call. She says she'll help me. I've seen jobs. I've seen like jobs with really high paying advertising, where you can even work from home doing something like that. So we'll see how that goes. And as for my business, Miracle Botanicals, Tony wants to take care of it. So I'm going to show him how to do the shipping and stuff. If I'm not going to be here to do the shipping, I'm going to show him how to do the shipping. And then, he'll be taking care of the business for the most part. I'm sure there will be me stepping in for lots of stuff. I can't help it. I'm probably not going to be balls to the wall busy. I'll probably take it slow and go like part-time or something like that. But it's just exciting. It's fun. I got the image of like a fire being lit under my ass, because it's like, holy shit, there doesn't seem to be much more time to there doesn't seem to be much more time before there's not enough money to keep on doing our lives the way we've been doing our lives, right? And it's just funny because I know we're not sustained by money at all. We're sustained by the love of God. Still, propping up a body is based on a belief in separation, and in that it's playing out a sense of separation. And part of my conditioning is, it's like, well, fuck, I gotta make a bunch of money, and I just kind of like, okay, show me how to make a bunch of money, right? And so it just, I don't even know if it is going to make me a bunch of money. I have no clue. It seems like it's a possibility. And then, if it just like seems like we run out of money time, so funny. It makes me laugh that it even like goes in like this kind of circle. I know it's totally good for me, no matter how it seems to go. So it's like, it seems like as that seems to get shorter and shorter and shorter, it's like an opportunity will arise. It's like, oh my goodness, like all of a sudden it'll just seem like this fear just struck me, right? And that'll just be an opportunity. That's an opportunity right there. The sense like I have to make some money, and then just noticing that that's not really a true statement because I don't do anything, right? And so even that desire, that longing, whatever it is, it just gets played out. It just gets worked out in the field, right? without that sense of victimhood being projected. The sense of victimhood, it does come up from time to time, right? It's not like present throughout every single day, all the time. It does come up from time to time. And when it comes up, it's an opportunity, is what I'm saying. And the way the life is laid out, it's to bring this up, to bring these things up over and over again, so the pain can be brought to the surface and resolved. Also, what we're perceiving as pain is really excitement in disguise. So everything that we're perceiving as pain and we're trying to escape from, it's really just excitement in disguise. I just love the play. Constance said, oh, the reverberations. What's great is there's always a new opportunity to love whatever's happening. Yep, that's it. Over and over again until we're released from the body sense. Until we're released. So it's like resting again and again and again as that awareness of everything that seems to be happening being maximally beneficial for me and for everyone else who seems to be involved. That includes all of my actions, all of my words, everything. So there's no justification for hashing it out, trying to hash it out in my mind, going into these scenarios, future scenarios, past scenarios, what I'm gonna say later, what I said back there. No. Letting it be released. Hooray! I can feel your happiness too, Constance. I love you. Yay. Yeah, I really couldn't do the studying any other way, and it's just out of happiness, and definitely seem to enjoy what they're teaching. Is like interesting to me. It's perfectly interesting to me. I love to learn how to play these different kinds of games, and I hadn't learned the real estate game that well because I hadn't gone through any kind of official training, but just dealing with real estates, LLCs, having a legal background, all that stuff. It's interesting, and it's fun for me, and who knows, could just get all this training, get all this education, then all of a sudden Miracle Botanicals just doubles the business, and it's like, okay, never mind. Or who knows, down the road something else. But what the main thing is, though, even if I just like go out and sign one person on, I did become a vehicle salesperson before. I took a 1-week course. It was a 40-hour course that I took, and after that they hired me on as a vehicle salesperson. I worked for 1 week. I got top salesperson in that week. No one turned me down. Once they saw me, they walked through the lot, they saw me, they were like, you're selling cars, I'm buying a car from you. I'm like, okay. And after that week, for one thing, the vehicle salesperson lead, whatever the dude was, tried to get into my top that night, and I was like, I'm not really into that. I probably could go back and just tell him to FO, and it wouldn't be a big deal, but I wasn't really into that. Plus I was being offered a paralegal job, which that was what I wanted to do, even though it was way less money than selling cars. I wasn't a used car salesperson. I was a new car salesperson. It was Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Plymouth, yeah, Jeeps. So it's kind of like along that same kind of lines, it's just kind of like, oh, I don't feel called to that a kind of career that pays a little bit, kind of a little bit, wasn't that much, being a paralegal. that pays a little bit, and you're showing off your mental acuity, basically. I could argue well. I could give some briefs that win. That kind of work doesn't really appeal to me anymore. So now it's like, okay, I could chill out and meet people and show some homes and fill out some documents, and who knows, maybe make a shitload of money. So it's funny when one of my friends who's a real estate agent, he goes, "Why do you want to be a real estate agent?" I go, "To make some money, dude." It's fun. It's fun it's like so clear. That's the worldly driving force. I want to make a shit ton of money. And that's fine. And noticing that is not a problem. Right? What is this that wants to make a shit ton of money? It's also not me. It's very playful. It's very playful. So in the event that I find out, oh, this is a total flop, I make no money doing this, I'm still the same. Recognizing what the driving force is in it doesn't mean that I need to be successful. It doesn't mean that I have to reach that goal, because the goal for me is always unchanging. It's just exciting for me. Oh, there's the goal. It's just exciting for me. And it's like, man, notice how when a goal is set, all of a sudden, boom, things just start moving in that direction. That's what people are talking about, manifestation. The thing is, the goal isn't my choice either. All of a sudden all of a sudden, boom, it just becomes that, okay, that's what I want to do. With Miracle Botanicals, that hasn't been the thing. You know what I'm going to do with this thing? I'm going to make a shitload of money. No, it's been, you know what I'm going to do with this thing? I'm going to get the best essential oils in the world. That's number one. I get the best essential oils. That's what I want to do. And that's how it is. One thing I love about the real estate course, it's really sweet in the way that it really emphasizes taking care of your client. It's a really lovely, and not just your client, everyone. And even when you're not acting as a real estate agent, it's a duty that you owe to the public at large. I love that kind of teaching. I love this. I love the sound of that, the duty that you owe. Because I feel that like there's a duty owed to everyone, to the public at large, which is forgiveness. Really, in real estate, the duty that you owe is this good faith. Like you're going to deal with them in good faith. You're not going to lie to them about what the rules are. You're not going to lie to them about the condition of the house. You're going to be really upfront about what's broken, because you're taking care of people in this way. They're looking for a place where they want to have their life and their home and all that, and they're looking to you to help them to make that something that is happy and joyful, and not coming up with some weird surprises like, oh, that real estate agent freaking lied to me. There's that dishonesty thing. It's really sweet. I felt really warm fuzzies about that. I thought that was really great. And just to be someone who's like, integrity, like taking care of your community, stuff like that. Someone gives you too much change and you give it back to them, kind of thing, like that. But it's funny because these kinds of things, they can't really be forced. They can't really be forced by rules. You can allude to them, but fear is going to make people do things that seem, one, illegal, which whatever on that one, we made that up. Just mean, you feel it. It's mean. It's like, well, I would really want to know if the air conditioner vents were full of asbestos if I moved into a house, but I'm not going to tell them that it's, just feel it. There's not a right or wrong here. Because it's like, whatever it is that you think you would do to another person, what you're telling your mind is that you actually deserve that treatment. You're not escaping it. Right. Also, I love people. I love meeting new people. I don't care if they're 100% steeped in delusion. Doesn't mean I'm gonna be hanging out with them all the time. But I love meeting them, working with them, helping them get their next step on their adventure. Get to their next step on their adventure and have a loving, fresh landing into their new abode. But who knows? I might not even find myself doing that. I just don't care, you guys. That's all there is to it. It really does not matter to me, whatever it is. I'm also going to be in India starting October 13th. I'm leaving for India and I'm going to be gone for 3 weeks for that. And I'm getting the sense it's going to be an amazing awakening. I don't know like the specifics. I don't have anything planned or anything like that, but I'm just getting, okay, get ready for this one. Who knows? Who knows what? Loving up change, love, just loving, just been loving up change, whatever that may look like, and not knowing, being in not knowing. And that really, I feel that's where the adventure is. Just like not really knowing from day to day, where's this going? I'm working on my blog. Is Miracle Botanicals even going to be a business next 6 months or something like that? Where's this even going? Am I even going to be a real estate agent? I don't know. But it comes back to, in the moment, look at, there's this opportunity to relax more and more. I'll be sitting there studying real estate and I'm constantly, because you can do this with your awareness, constantly checking in to see if I'm relaxed. Where am I holding tension? What's the position of my neck? When we tend to get tense, our neck goes out like this. If you notice that and pull it back, there's a whole bunch of flow that occurs back there. Now, for the most part, it's hard for people to pull it back, especially after a certain age, because of all the thoughts that have been accumulating and twisting stuff and making it like that. But look at how it feels like comfortable. You could be comfortable and notice uncomfort. Sometimes I'll find myself sitting in a certain situation where I would like to stay seated in that position and I don't want to move, although I'm feeling a sense of discomfort. Maybe it's on the mid back, maybe it's on the hip, maybe it's wherever. My awareness then is going to the discomfort and letting that kind of just being okay and there being a space for that discomfort to be expressed. All of the discomfort is also fear, even discomfort from sitting in a position too long. Isn't that funny? Feeling good in the discomfort, because even the discomfort, that's an interpretation that's made. And that's one thing that came really clear to me through Vipassana, sitting cross-legged for all those hours. When an uncomfortable feeling arises, there's joy in that. You can relax into it. I'm not saying to make it so that you're like, oh my God, I have to get out of this, or you're freaking out. You don't have to put yourself through that. I have a higher threshold for pain, possibly, because I notice when my breath starts to get choppy like that, and see if I can relax. Let's say I'm in a position, a block therapy position even, or sitting cross-legged. I'll see if I can relax, and it's gentle seeing if I'm willing to be relaxed in that. If not, it's okay. I can move, I can get out of it. But as much as you would be willing to see if you can get some relaxation within the pain, physical kind, right? Stuff that arises as if it's a physical sensation. It's really no different than an emotional sensation that arises as if it's a physical sensation, or emotional sensations. The more you practice being calm and aware within an upset or painful sensation, the more you see who you are. And you come to realize that none of that stuff is even touching you. Even the pain that arises in the hip, let's say, or in the low back or in the upper back. Definitely don't have much of that arising unless I'm on the block. Then I can find stuff. And boy, what a joy. What a joy. And what a transformation too, for people to see pain as really a joy. Right? To see that pain is it's covering something up. It's covering something up, and to see it as, wow, what a rush, and fear, basically to bring up my fear like that to the surface in the form of pain, physical or emotional, or, even a sick feeling, let's say a nauseous feeling, same thing. Like, I love that. Couple mornings this week, it seemed like I had morning sickness. I was like, uh-oh. But yeah, it was like really brief though. I got the sense of this intense nausea, and then I used like what I was talking about with you guys right now. I used that, and really, like, it's a trip how that sense of nausea transformed really fast into a really delightful feeling. And I don't know, I think I just forgot about it until right now, like both times. It's got a sense of, this really intense feeling, and then nothing. Next thing you know, I got a baby. That would be hilarious. You guys, I don't even care, really. It doesn't even matter to me. It's funny, when I was maybe like 10 years younger or something like that. Oh man, I found out I was pregnant. I was like, I got to get this thing out. I got to get an abortion. I tried all these things to self-abort, didn't work out. Ended up in Kona anyways, getting an abortion. And I was like really adamant, no way, no way, no way am I doing that. And it's like, at this point, it's like, I don't even mind. It's like, I know so well that whatever occurs is perfect for me. So it's like, yeah, whatever. It could be who knows? I don't even need to try to guess what it is. Just knowing that it's maximally healing lets it be so playful. And that's something that I would like to share with you, like to extend to you, is this sense of playfulness within whatever your life circumstances seem to be. And I know that you hearing that. I know that you hearing that from an open space, that you're going to allow that in and be integrated within you, because you know this already. One friend came up to me at the farmer's market, and she said, I look to you to remind me that I can be stoked. And I'm like, that's good. That's good. I love being used for that, because you can be stoked. It doesn't matter what kind of circumstance it is. It doesn't matter if all the people around you seem to reflect to you that you can't be stoked. You still can be stoked. One of my friends was telling me that her husband, she's been with for a long time, seems to get annoyed with her. And I go, well, you know what you tell him when that seems to be the case, right? She goes, what? And I go, you're welcome. And she goes, oh yeah, right. Like, we signed up for this stuff, like we're, especially when we're in relationship for a long time, or like spouses, we've been in relationship for a long time. It's like, can you see how we signed up for this stuff? Can you see how we're in some kind of an agreement here? Like, you seem to get annoyed by me, and then I feel like kind of worthless because you don't like me. And we just play this little cycle over and over again. Do you see that? It gets to be playful and fun. And that's why that's why in A Course in Miracles, it talks about how the Holy Spirit can work in any kind of relationship. It doesn't matter how shitty you've been to each other. It doesn't matter how much you feel like you've been victimizing one another, right? At any moment, you can be willing to see what this is for and go, oh, isn't this so cute? Look at what we're playing out here. Right? You're welcome. For me, I don't always just say that right to my husband. I'll always listen. Well, mostly always to my guidance. I don't like find myself like just telling him you're welcome, but in my mind it'll be like that. You're welcome. And I'll notice the shift. There's energetic shift, like visceral, like you can sense it. There's energetic shifts taking place. The whole journey is based on these energetic fluctuations. This whole lonely adventure. And other times it'll just be, I will say you're welcome. And oh, my husband's come a long way. He's come to the point where he knows it. He can really calm down in the midst of a perception that I've done something. And the same thing for me. One fun story this weekend, we've been doing farmers market at Kalapana, 8 to 12 Saturday. We've been down there at the farmers market with our essential oils. Well, apparently Tony forgot to bring the tent, the pop-up tent, and it was raining out there, right? I don't arrive at the same time he does. I arrive later. So he calls me up and he says, you need to get first he has to go find service to call me. You need to get me the pop-up tent. It's raining. I didn't bring it. I forgot the tent. He goes, you got to wake Blaze up to get the tent. And I was like, oh, I don't want to wake Blaze up to get the tent. And I started to feel basically less than grateful. Like, of all things, to forget something that's too heavy for me to lift. Right? Started to feel less than grateful, basically. Saw that thought right away, right? And so then I go, I don't want to wake Blaze up. He's going to be bummed out. He gets to bed late, So I called Chaitan and I told Chaitan, I'm looking for a hero. I need this thing taken down so I can bring it over there. So he goes, okay, I'm coming right over. And so he's coming over, and I'm feeling better and better about the situation. There was these thoughts that were plaguing me about, it would be much better if I didn't have to do this right now in the rain, carrying something that's too heavy for me. Right. So, and also having to drive through the market, right, to drive it up there, the whole thing. And I just kept on letting myself be released again and again and again. And eventually I go, I'm going to check something out. And I got the stool and I went over, the tent was up high, and I just kind of like moved a little bit with my arms, and I started to move it some more, and I go, oh, I can totally carry this thing. This is like no problem. And I just like carry with one arm out I was laughing. I was like, oh my God, he thinks I'm so fragile. That's so cute. I didn't know. I never carried it before, I don't think. So he told me I need help. Right. So then I just got it and I stuck it in the car, and I got to see Chayton anyways, because I had already called him. So we had a hug, and it was just this, I had this sense of like glee. For one, I was like, it's so funny, the tricks that are played, first of all, thinking that it's more than it even was. Like, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is like nothing. I can carry this thing around. I even like pulled up, it was raining. I pulled up, took it out, put it over there. I'm like, there it is, I don't need any help with that. Either I just got really buff, or there's that. It's so funny. Apparently I'm not that fragile though. But it was like, as soon as I was ready and I was feeling really relieved, it's like I could see another possibility. Right. I could see another possibility. Even calling Chayton, I could see that other possibility. It was so nice to have a hug from him in the morning before we left. Yeah. So it's like there's all kinds of little things, Chayton was even sharing with me about ants. He just had all these ants all of a sudden pop up. I let him know to let his landlord know, because they'll do something about that too. But all these ants pop up. And then he's noticing that he's less than grateful, upset feeling. And that's it. That's the willingness, right? Right there. Just don't go to sleep again. It's like, and when you do fall asleep, just be willing to wake up again. It's like, don't fall asleep in that. That's what Jesus was talking about too, when he was telling his disciples, I'm going to go away, and I want you to stay awake. It's like a parallel. It's like, don't fall asleep. It's like something will pop up and induce sleepiness, but you have a choice in that. So you don't have to go that route. The ants can still be there, and they can still get cleaned up with your awareness of everything that you're feeling, because those feelings you're projecting, and out of that projection, the ants come. It's not the other way around. The ants aren't doing it to you. It's you. Right? That was, for me, it was seeing that I set my husband up to play that out, like he forgot the tent. And it's like, when I'm seeing it like that, I'm getting relief, and things become comical and fun, and I can see so many more possibilities as well. So hooray. Yay. If you have any questions, ask me now. If you want to talk with me, too late for that. But if you don't have any questions, otherwise, yay. Visit miraclebotanicals.com for the best essential oils in the world. I'm super stoked. I'm running a special right now. You can get free sage when you spend $50, sage essential oil, and free turpentine pine resin when you spend 100. Also, check out my Facebook group, Miracle Botanicals Facebook Ohana. I've been doing live videos on there. I just did a live video today too. And I will be at Cinderland this Friday. It's my apparent birthday, August 11th. I think what I'm going to do after that is go to the Maku'u night market. It starts on August 11th. So that's fun. Yeah. Yeah, Maku'u night market. That'll be fun. So I'll be down at Cinderland if you want to join me for Wisdom Dialogues on Friday from 3 to 5. And then after that, I'll be at Maku'u market, and yeah, having a blast. I love you guys. Thank you so much for joining. And until next time, mahalo, aloha, and a hui ho. Yay.